right over there where the recreation center is. Now, we already died from what IP did with their emissions. We just had a lady that died Saturday that was sick from cancer from these emissions. If the paint from those emissions, if the exposure of the emissions eat up the paint off the car, what is your plant going to do if a chemical plant comes in here? You know, this is hallowed ground for us. We don't want this in our backyard. Put it in your backyard.
Amen. Can you hear us now? You got room going across the bay. I can't go across the bay.
Pardon me. The gentleman right here, yes, sir. And then Dr. Yes, Dr.
My name is Paul Hayes, and I have kids. Go to Mobile County Training School. Been here 20 years. As I said, tell him, put it in his backyard. Let him use his family for an experiment. Don't use us. It's over with.
That's why we jump off the ship.
I would like to make a statement about the Plateau Historic Committee area. Fortunately, I attended several of those meetings when the application was made, and some person pointed out the inaccuracy of the map that had been presented by some organization. The committee was told that let's get this zoning now. And once we get, or this designation now, once you get the designation, then we can get the area that should be the entire area.
This is not the first time that rezoning has come to Plateau. When the other city councilmen, they have to put a micro warehouse to build floats, and we canceled that out. Let's get together and cancel this out.
Amen.
Because
That's
this
right.
is not the first time. They've been trying to get Plateau for over 60 years. My mother is dead now. She died Sunday. And I'm standing in the gap for her. We're not going to have it over here.
No.
It's been here.
Back up and
Let's
go.
get together and fight together, because they've been trying to rezone over in that area for many years. When the other city councilmen before you, and we should stop that. We got to stop it again now.
Get this gentleman in with it.
Yes. My name is Howard. My family is one of the oldest, not the oldest, but one of them. We ain't moving on. Okay? My dad died here, my granddad, and my mother, and all my family's here. I'm here, and I'm here to stay.
Amen.
Okay?
That's right.
I came out of Locust County Training School in '69. Born and raised right here.
Right here.
Now, you got a bit of land going across Boulder County. You got a bit of land going to Sierra Land. Use it.
Ain't gonna put it there.
Because I'm telling you,
I'm not ready to
Right
regret.
here.
I'm saying a black man life ain't nothing. If you want it, better get it someplace else. Something to talk about.
Ms. Jackson.
I'm Sarah Jackson. I just want to add to your rezoning. Downtown, y'all planning committee won't even let me put a little garage up on the side of my house. I've been begging to get a ditch cleaned out. You all won't even let nobody come out there to clean a ditch out. I've been like 50 years. I've been begging and begging. I ain't asking for no money.
Because you black.
I'm asking for what? I live in this area. I've been here over 50 years. I put up with the alligators in the ditch. Nobody came to see about me. They said, oh, Miss Jackson, I'm going to fix it. Be patient. And now y'all want to come in with more energy? Don't come in with no all of this materialistic stuff. We people been here and we're going to stay here and we're not going anywhere.
Thank you.
And we don't want these.
That's
All
right.
Teresa Stevenson, my question is, like she said, if they pass it, is there any way if that man decides to leave, that it goes reverse back to the zone that is in now?
That's a
Is there
good
any way
question.
we can put that in place?
That's a good question.
Is
Mr.
there any way
Hoffman.
we can put that in place?
Let's listen to Mr. Hoffman. He's here from the planning
So
staff.
recently, there was a rezoning in Triton to allow a music studio to go in. And when that went through, while initially, there wasn't a restriction like that. When it got to the city council level, the city council requested that their attorney, the city council attorney, prepare an amendment that would require that individual piece of property to revert back to the previous zoning district. And I believe that is what was passed about a month ago for that property in Franklin. So it is possible.
So, and I want to say this. I want to make this crystal clear. Everybody who lives here in Plateau, Africatown, any part of District 2, I'm listening.
Where you live at? Where you live at?
One second. I stay at 554 Selma Street in the Down the Bay community in District 2. I'm not. You know what? I'm not out here, but I am working to improve the area out here. So I can't. One second, man. This is my point. I can't live in every community in District 2 because there are over 18 distinct communities in this district. But that does not stop me from caring about what goes on out here in Plateau. That doesn't stop me from working to see that what other communities have, you all have. And so this is the point I want to make. I serve on the planning commission that will be making the decision on Thursday. I'm here to listen. I'm turning to man if you let me finish. This is my point. I'm here. Tonight's meeting is an opportunity for Mr. Collins, Mr. Hoffman to explain, to articulate to everyone what it is that he wants to move forward with. But at the end of the day, if you all cannot leave here with an understanding, if you all cannot leave here on board with what is being proposed, if the community that I represent, the community that elected me to serve on the city council and thereby be on this planning commission, is not in favor of what's going on, I'm going to be with the community. I want you to understand this crystal clear. I'm going to be with the community. I've been with the community since day one. I'm going to be with the community on my last day. So that part you won't have to worry about. At the end of the day, I am but one vote of how many planning commission members? Of 14 planning commission members. And I'm only one vote of 7 city council members. But at the end of the day, I want it to be in God's house where all y'all understand that when I go, whatever I do downtown that affects Plateau is going to represent the sentiment of Plateau, which is why we're here today. We're here tonight because I wanted to know what did the citizens here in Plateau, how do you feel about it? And we wanted Mr. Collins to have an opportunity to stand up before you and say, this isn't what you think, this isn't what you heard, this is what I'm trying to do. Are there any further questions? Mr. Africatown.
Good evening. I don't live in Africatown, but I've been working with Africatown community in the past 3 years. And there is something I think you, Mr. Manzi, and the Planning Commission needs to know. Africatown, in 2012, the city hired a consultant and prepared analysis of impediments to fair housing. Now, that analysis of impediment to fair housing recommended protection of Africatown from undesirable development. Now, I don't know how this development is going to have impact on Africatown, but I believe, in my own opinion, that it could have a negative impact in this community. And secondly, in April 2013, the city completed and submitted to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development 2013 to 2017 Consolidated Housing and Community Development Plan. I believe you are well aware of that. And that plan calls for preparation of neighborhood development plan for Africatown. I don't think that has been done. And the reason why that plan and the analysis of impediment to fair housing referenced Africatown was to preempt what is happening right now, because there are a lot of industries coming into Africatown. But those plans, those two plans, basically foresaw what's going to happen to Africatown and made those recommendations to protect the Africatown from undesirable development. Now, the Planning Commission needs to review those recommendations and take it into consideration when they vote. And I don't think the staff report that was prepared for the Planning Commission made any references to those two studies. So I'm recommending that the Planning Commission continue this hearing and then reference those two studies, because if the Planning Commission takes action on Thursday and approves this plan, I think there is some kind of conflict. On one side, the city is recommending protection of Africatown from undesirable development. On the other hand, the city is approving a development that could have a negative impact on Africatown. So I'm recommending that the city follow the recommendation he has already approved in terms of consideration of development applications in Africatown. Right now, I think the proposed development is in conflict with the city's public policy.
A couple of things. Mr. Harper, you pointed out that there have been numerous other businesses in that area now. I'm 64 years old, and I've never seen any businesses up in that area. But any question. I remember digging up crawfish when I was a kid. So unless something was up there 60, 70 years ago, there had not been anything other than houses in that particular area. I don't know where you get that from.
Well, I base that statement on the fact that it looked like that this particular piece of property had been used for parking at some point.
It may have looked like that on paper, but it's not that in reality. I was
certainly not there. Yeah, now.
Yeah. Another thing you talked about, you spoke about the historical district and this being outside of the historical district, and I think Mr. Bemis is back here, isn't it? Okay. Yeah, okay, he's the one that brought the information to us, and when we first saw it, we looked at this, that this is not right. Because what's on the only map as the historical district does not include House Bayou, New Quarters, which is now in question, Lewis Quarters, Happy Hill, or any of those areas. And they should be part of the Africatown district because they are. In my personal opinion, that what's on there now as the historical district is a joke and a trick. Do just what you're doing right now to bring industry in around the people and eventually move the people out. It's just a trick. And Mr. Beamer, you need to expand it because you said you were 2 years ago and you haven't done a thing. What's the problem?
Just today, as a matter of fact, in our planning for next year, we've targeted Lewis Quarters as the next area to look at.
Well, that's in the southern district. He's in the northern district.
Well, I'm going to tell you, Joel and Nasheed were in my office last week, I guess, and we talked about moving up towards the bayou as well. But one step at a time is what we're going to do. Let me also make this clear. Even if this were dead center of the historic district has no control over use. As long as it's zoned correctly, the review board is required to approve appropriate buildings for that area. Now, we would certainly work some on the plan or the appearance of the building. It wouldn't look quite the way that this does, but being in a historic district would not have stopped this use whatsoever.